Let's get into the day's big news with my panel, former Speaker of the House Bronwyn Bishop and former Victorian Liberal Party President Michael Kroger. I played at the top of the show a montage of how the coalition has been ending most of their questions to Labor, particularly to the Prime Minister this week. Let's have a look.
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australians always pay more under Labor?
Why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
And why do Australian families always pay more under Labor?
Bronwyn, I'll start with you. I question how effective that strategy is. What are your thoughts?
It is resonating. People are repeating it. And it happens to be a truism. We always do pay more because taxes go up. In this case, inflation goes up. Cost of living goes up. Because Labor is a socialist party. And when you have socialists in charge, then the people come second and everything costs more.
Michael, we may pay more, it may be statistically irrelevant, but I wonder whether repeating those lines is actually impactful or whether they just look rehearsed and scripted.
Yeah, they are rehearsed and scripted, but that Bronwyn's right, as she usually is. This is a very powerful weapon by the coalition. I saw Zoe McKenzie and others, Angus Taylor and others, repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. This is the coalition's version of doesn't hold a hose. It took Labor 18 months to run down Scott Morrison as the person who wasn't around when you needed him, etc., etc. So you think of a strategy, a label, and you just repeat it for 18 months. This is a very powerful weapon, and the coalition are absolutely right to run on this line, and it is already starting to bite. You imagine what it's going to be like after 18 months. It will damage Labor immensely, yes, as opposed to the Labor strategy, which I don't think is very good, which is the whole 10 years of neglect or waste under the Liberals, because after 2 years, people start saying, mate, that was years ago. You've been in government now for 2 or 3 years. What are you doing? Don't keep blaming Scott Morrison. What are you doing? So their strategy has an end date. Their slogan has an end date. The coalition's one will keep resonating and keep getting more powerful, I think.
And it's also true.
Michael Weaver, well, being true, I don't know how important that is these days to political debate.